Ever watch people flexing to buy penthouses online and thought, cool, but I've got a normal job, maybe some savings. Is this actually realistic for me? Because if you're on about 2 to 4k a month, no investors, no rich parents, and no property background, you've probably been told that Airbnb isn't for you. In this video, I'm going to break down whether starting Airbnb in 2026 on a normal salary is actually possible, what it really costs, the risks that nobody talks about, and whether this path even makes sense for you. No hype, no Lambos, just reality. My name is Adam. I didn't come from any money. I had no investors, no property background, no portfolio, no safety net, and I built an Airbnb portfolio across the UAE and the UK without any investors involved. Let's get into today's video. This video is for you if you're earning between 2 to 4k a month and you work a normal 9 to 5 job, whether it's in tech, sales, or a trade. You probably have some savings, but definitely not tens of thousands sitting around you ready to invest. You're not broke, but you're not rich either. This video is not for you if you're looking for some overnight success with zero effort. You have absolutely no savings and no money at all and can't afford to take a risk. Or you're hoping that Airbnb is magically going to fix all your financial problems. What we're talking about here is smart, calculated risk, not fantasy. I grew up in a council estate in Dublin, raised in a single mother household. There was no family money, no fallback plan. If something went wrong, it was on me. I was always entrepreneurial from a young age. I was flipping toys, building small websites and apps, fixing iPhones. But I also dropped out of university twice. I eventually went back and finished my computer science degree. Not because I loved corporate life, but just because I wanted to close that chapter properly. Then in 2023, my son was born, and that was the moment that hit me. A good salary still meant capped freedom. No matter how hard I worked, my income had a ceiling, and that ceiling wasn't going to provide my family with the life that I wanted to give them. Let's kill some of the biggest myths that I hear right now. Myth number 1, you need to own property first. You don't. Simply don't. You can manage somebody else's property to make positive cash flow. Myth number 2, you need investors or rich parents. You definitely don't. And myth number 3, you need between 20 to 30k just to get started. Not exactly. You can get started for much less in different markets. What most beginners start with is something called rent to rent, but it's also called arbitrage. It's a very simple model. You lease a property legally, you furnish it and put it up to a high standard, and then you operate it as a short-term rental on platforms such as Airbnb and Booking.com. You don't own the asset, you control and manage the asset. And that's the model that most people with normal money start with. Let's talk reality though. If you're making between 2 to 4k a month, here's what that usually looks like. You've got rent or a mortgage, food, bills, maybe a car, and maybe some kids. You're probably saving a couple of hundred a month after all your expenses if you're lucky. And here's the truth, you don't need to be loaded, but you do need to have discipline. If you can't save consistently, business risks become disastrous. Airbnb isn't started with spare change, it started with planned money. I'm not going to throw exact startup cost numbers right at you now, but I just want you to understand the structure and how you first get started. Your first unit typically has 3 cost buckets: the first month's rent and sometimes a deposit, the furniture and staging, licensing, company formation, permits and compliance, professional photos and small branded pieces. This isn't coming out of thin air. You need a runway. The goal isn't to eliminate risk, it's just to avoid dumb risks. Here's the truth though, I made so many mistakes when I first started out. I overpaid for units in the low season in Dubai, I trusted the wrong people and I lost money by getting scammed, I missed legal details early on in contracts. That stuff hurts, especially when you're first starting out and you have a limited amount of capital. But the pivot was simple. I started doing proper deal analysis and tracking all numbers. I became way pickier with deals that came to the table. I accepted slower progress instead of gambling. Your background doesn't decide the outcome. So here's the actual path with no fluff. Step 1, get brutally honest about your finances. How much can you save each month without wrecking your life? Step 2, pick one market and learn the rules properly. No guessing any legal stuff. Step 3, study real deal examples, not motivational posts. Understand the rent, occupancy and nightly rates. Step 4, build a basic system before you sign anything. Cleaners, locks, maintenance and a simple property management software. Step 5, start with one conservative unit. Numbers that work even if anything goes wrong. And step 6, treat that unit as a case study for unit 2 and 3 when you're scaling. That's how you can scale in this business safely. The emotional side that nobody talks about is fear. The reality is the hardest part of this business isn't the money. It's the fear of looking stupid if it fails. The pressure from family and friends who want you to play it safe and stay in a 9 to 5. And also the weight of responsibility if you have kids depending on you. For me, fear became a filter. If the downside made me physically sick, my numbers were probably off. I learned to communicate the plan clearly with the people close to me. And I even accepted that sometimes I might look wrong on the short term, but be right long term. Here's the hard truth though. You should not start this business if you have no savings at all and you're already behind on your bills. You're probably hoping that Airbnb is a quick fix and a get rich quick scheme, and you're not willing to learn basics like budgeting, contracts, and guest experience. Waiting is sometimes a smarter move. This business is not for everyone, and that's alright. This wasn't a you can do it bro video. This was a real breakdown so you can decide if this path makes sense for you. If you want honest numbers, real deal breakdowns, and content for normal people starting with normal money, subscribe to the channel. And if you're serious about getting your first unit within the next 90 days, comment B&B below and I'll DM you personally. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.